Well, hello there. How you doing? The movie opens with an ambitious high school student named Avery Hanson White, who thrives in areas where she excels, carefully steering clear of situations where she feels she won't belong. Additionally, she boasts a record-breaking GPA and has received early acceptance to MIT. However, she doesn't care about having many friends, and she doesn't even want to attend the prom, as she claims that SAMCon or the STEM competition is her prom. This year, STMCon presents Avery with the challenge of designing an app to tackle a personal problem she faces in her life. After school, Avery meets her best friend Larson. He has been her subject of experiment since childhood, even though he doesn't share her passion for science. Their partnership ultimately reaches a conclusion when the teenager Larson tries to kiss her, but instead, he receives a punch. Even though Avery seems to lack any charm in relationships, it turns out he has a boyfriend named Casper, whom he met at FemCon. When asked if she will take him to the school prom, she responds that prom is not a priority for her at all. In this way, Larson subtly encourages her to attend prom with him, yet his invitation is turned down. In her house, Avery brainstorms and suddenly realizes that there is absolutely nothing to improve in her life, as she has no areas of weakness whatsoever. Shortly after, she gets a video call from Casper, eager to elevate their relationship when they meet at SAMCon soon. Avery feels a rush of panic and quickly closes her laptop, overwhelmed by the fact that sexual topics are the one area where she feels completely lost. Avery was raised by three incredible moms: Susie, Deb, who is famous for her legendary art, and bonus mom Kim. As a result, she finds herself without anyone to seek advice from regarding adult matters involving men. She approaches her mom, Susie, and shares her boyfriend's intentions, expressing that she's also considering doing it in the future. She shares her thoughts, emphasizing that intimate moments should be messy, rather than striving for perfection in every detail. Avery heads back to her room, determined to develop a smart application that will help her master adulting. She plans to use it as a guide for her first sexual experience with her boyfriend later on. She begins programming the AI and the algorithm, but soon realizes that she requires some experiments and discovers additional data. The following day, she goes to class, yet the teacher declines to assist her. She approaches her mom, Susie, for the second time. Susie offers her a copy of 50 Shades of Grey and other similar books, but she declines them. The mom then proposes that she gather the data from her friends at school, and she readily agrees to this idea. She starts interviewing a variety of classmates, beginning with the cheerleader dancer, followed by the bodybuilder, and then the engineering student. However, none of them possess the necessary experience or urgency to proceed, so they recommend that Avery speak with school start Danica McCallum. After school, she walks up to Danica, who shares a wealth of insights about adult matters, including her size preference, and encourages her to find a partner to practice with. She nods in agreement and promptly approaches Larson, inviting him to hang out at her place every day. This leaves everyone in the room feeling puzzled. Larson leads him out of the classroom, initially turning down the offer. After all, Avery had friend-zoned him, and on top of that, she's already in a relationship. She persistently persuades and entices him until he finds himself unable to say no, ultimately agreeing to be her experiment partner once more, even though he has a crush on another girl at the moment. Moments later, the duo arrives at Larson's room, where he is instructed to adhere to a protocol outlined on a piece of paper. Before they begin, Larson states that love is what defines a good lover. However, Avery refutes this idea, asserting that love and sexual matters are distinct concepts. Afterwards, she commands Larson to kiss her, and he complies. He then plays music to enhance the atmosphere. They snuggle closely, savoring the music, when Avery playfully requests that he slide his hand beneath her shirt. For the very first time, Avery experiences an incredible pleasure from a man's touch, but when Larson oversteps his bounds, she makes the choice to exit the room. At home, she is diligently working on developing the algorithm for the application. The following day, Avery meets with a potter and conducts interviews with additional classmates to gain a deeper understanding of the male reproductive system. After discovering more about it, she can't seem to take her eyes off it, as it's now a constant presence in her daily life. She eventually returns to Larson's place, stating that she needs to interact with his belongings for a hands-on experience. As anticipated, he permits her to proceed, and she begins to inspect it meticulously. The scene abruptly shifts to a location where Larson portrays an astronaut poised for takeoff, while Avery diligently continues to pump fuel into the spacecraft. After a moment, the spacecraft launches into the sky, and Larson lets out a joyful scream. He then offers to return the favor to Avery, but she misunderstands and says she needs to get back to analyze the data, as today's experiment has been successful. She understands that there's still a gap in her data, so she goes to see Danica, who guides the nerd girl on how to explore herself, recommending that she envisions her object of desire. After Danica's suggestion, Avery heads straight home and makes a beeline for the bathroom, utilizing the water stream as her tool. As she revels in the moment, the water unexpectedly turns hot, prompting her to place a cold compress between her thighs. Soon, Larson reaches out to her, cautioning her not to overthink something that occurs naturally. However, Avery swiftly shifts the conversation elsewhere. She proposes that they engage in some steamy conversation over the phone. Larson attempts to introduce various subjects to ignite her interest, yet nothing seems effective until he mentions periodic tables and the accomplishments she could attain after graduating from MIT. She is captivated by the topic until Larson brings up her victory at STEAMCon. Suddenly, Carlson appears, trophy in hand, and the entire mood shifts dramatically. Only 8 days left until STEAMCon. Avery is busy interviewing several classmates during math class. One of the classmates, Frank, discusses erogenous zones in a detailed manner, when suddenly, a woman in the back, Marla, unexpectedly suggests that she could pleasure herself to validate the conversation. The teacher eventually gets sidetracked by them, but it appears the students successfully masked the adult topic as math-related content, which delights the teacher immensely. Meanwhile, Marla continues her activities until she reaches the pinnacle and lets out a joyful scream. After class, Larson and Avery hurriedly make their way to the man's place to put into practice what she had discussed and uncovered earlier in math class. The scene shifts to Larson, who is now acting as a digger, as he descends into a narrow, vibrant tunnel. He begins to explore the tunnel, his fingers brushing against the wall from time to time. This action sets Avery in motion until he discovers a door that teleports them into the swimming scene, where Avery revels in that moment. Afterward, she comes up with a name for her application: sex appeal. Laurent tries to elevate their evening, but once more, Avery refuses, insisting that they must keep things professional and concentrate on the experiments. This leaves Laurent feeling disheartened. He proposes that chemistry occurs when love intertwines with sexual elements and vice versa. However, she counters this idea, asserting that love is entirely separate from sexual experiences. Avery compiles all the data and successfully completes the application right on schedule. One night before STEAMCon, Larson approaches Avery and asks her to go to the science museum with him. However, as expected, the girl declines the invitation. He wonders about her feelings for him, especially after all the time they've spent together. However, her responses leave him feeling let down. Ultimately, he resolves to go alone, even though he has 2 tickets in hand. The following day, Avery comes to a startling realization. She feels something different for Larson. Yet, she pushes those feelings away, refusing to acknowledge them. Following Casper's presentation, they quickly make their way to the hotel room, where the duo begins to engage in activities inspired by her app's suggestions. Yet, Avery finds herself unable to relish the moment like she did with Larson, despite having followed all the instructions carefully. Shortly thereafter, she chooses to end the intimacy and exits the room. In this very moment, she comes to the profound realization that she has indeed fallen in love with Larson. The next morning, Avery steps back from her presentation, fully aware that the application failed her. With tears in her eyes, she walks off the stage. This results in disqualification, and Casper is declared the automatic winner of the competition. That night, she confronts Larson, who is clearly exasperated with her. He declares that he has reached his limit with the false hope she's provided and is finished waiting for the day she decides to change her mind about him. He comes to the understanding that Avery has never truly cared for anyone, particularly not for him. Therefore, he feels relieved that he avoided sleeping with her. She then reflects on the interview she conducted and ultimately comes to believe that love and sexual experience are indeed intertwined. The next day, Mom Kim enters her room, encouraging her to speak from the heart and be truthful with Larson. Indeed, she does. She cuts in on Larson, who is immersed in his music practice, and confesses that his theory regarding love and sexual experience is indeed accurate. However, this action only serves to make her appear foolish, and he must escort him out. Avery finally opens up about her true feelings for him, but it's already too late. Larson has made it clear that he has moved on. She invites him to prom, but he shows no interest whatsoever. In the end, Avery confesses her love for him, yet he turns and walks away without a word. As tears stream down her face in solitude, a teacher approaches her, imparting a valuable life lesson that brings her comfort and solace. On prom night, Larson dances with his crush, while Avery watches from afar, feeling isolated. However, this time, she understands that not everything can be compelled, and a sense of happiness for him washes over her.